Okay, I wasn't gonna make this video today, but might as well. I have a huge headache, but I wanted to make the Transformers video, so here it is. So if you don't know what Transformers are, I would assume that you would because it's well-liked and well-known throughout pretty much the whole world, but if you don't know, it's about alien robots. There are the good guys, the Autobots, bad guys, the Decepticons. They crash land on Earth from the planet called Cybertron, and they don't like each other, obviously, so there are different shows, cartoons, and in this case, movies. First up, I'm going to be talking about the first Transformers movie live-action ever made, which was titled Transformers, and it was made in 2007. Since it's about robots and fighting and all that stuff, it is a science fiction action film. And since the cartoons before that received a lot of love, as you can imagine, it was one of the best movies throughout the whole year and it made a lot of money. I can't be too sure, but I'm pretty sure it was the first PG-13 Transformers show movie that they ever made, so I'm sure that also added to the excitement for people. It was directed by Michael Bay, who at first didn't even want to do it because he thought it was too kiddie. So he added more military scenes. So he ended up doing the movies anyway. He just added more military scenes, which is why the first Transformers has a lot of those. And all of them except for the latest Transformer movie, Bumblebee, were actually directed by Michael Bay. The scriptwriters were Roberto Orci and Alex Kurtzman. Now you could tell the difference between the first movie and the latest movie because the latest movie's screenwriter was actually a woman. Based on these clips, can you guess who did which movie?
Oh, nice headers. You've got a high-rise double pump carburetor. That's pretty impressive, Sam.
It's,
He.
wow.
The actors. The actor for Sam Witwicky, which is the main male lead of the Transformers movie, he was played by Shia LaBeouf. Not sure that's how you actually pronounce his name, but Michaela was actually played by Megan Fox. The Optimus voice was a fan favorite, Peter Cullen. Unlike the new Bumblebee movie, it has more sequels because it's older. The sequels were Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon, Age of Extinction, and The Last Night. Now Shia, or however you pronounce his name, the guy who played Sam, he actually leaves the later Transformers movies and there are new heroes in it, but he felt like there wasn't really a point to continue Sam's story and that he was basically done with it and he wanted to be done with blockbuster movies, and he asked for a higher salary but was also denied. So I think after a few movies you just kind of want to be done with the whole idea. So he left, but he started one more movie I think than Megan Fox did because Megan Fox ended up leaving. They had her character break up with Sam. It was said that she called Michael Bay Hitler and she was fired for it, but I'm also not sure about that because the internet has a whole bunch of different stories for it. But the point is, she never came back for the later ones either. Optimus Prime's car was a 1992 Peterbilt 379. B's car, of course, was Chevrolet Camaro. My overall thoughts on the movie was that it was great. I liked it. I still like it. I think there are different parts of the movies that I like more. Like, there's kind of more action to this one, but also I think this one was a little bit funnier while Bumblebee was a little bit more serious. Like, I think I actually like Bumblebee more, but I think that Transformers was a little bit funnier. Okay, now on to Bumblebee's movie, the most recent one that was made in 2018. Like the first Transformer movie live action, it is a science fiction action movie. It is the 6th installment in the live action series, so it's been a while since the rest of the movies have passed by. They announced it to be a spin-off and a prequel to the very first Transformers movie ever made, but it was later said that it was a reboot because it messed up with the whole timeline for the first Transformers movie. So I don't really know what to think. In my head, it's basically different universes, just same characters, because the prequel or the rebooted Bumblebee, it messed with the plot for the first one. Like I said, unlike the other Transformer movies, this one was directed by Travis Knight. And the script was written by Christina Hodson. Charlie, the main 18-year-old character, she was played by Haley Stanfield. The main male lead was played by Jord Lindborg Jr., I believe. And it has the wrestler John Cena. And on top of that, to make it better, Dylan O'Brien voiced a Bumblebee. Out of all the Transformers movies, this was the lowest grossing film, but it was still a success, and in my opinion, it was better than the first one. It was given the highest praise out of all the movies, and it was said to be the best one, which I agree in. They had some good action scenes. Like, you could actually tell what was happening. Like, when two robots were fighting, I could tell what was happening. Of course, Peter Cullen voiced Optimus Prime, though he wasn't the main character. There were less robots in Bumblebee than there were in the first one. There were Decepticons, of course, but very few. And the movie ended with Bumblebee parting ways with Charlie and meeting up with Optimus Prime. And unlike the first movie, this one was set in 1987. The 2007 Transformers movie was set in more of a recent time that it was made, while this one was set a few decades ago. These cars, a 1967 Beetle instead of a Camaro. At the end of the movie, he changes into a Camaro and Charlie's all outraged, but I feel like that was important for her to get the car in the first place, otherwise she would have never met Bumblebee. I feel like Bumblebee was more sweet than the first Transformers movie was, because there were a lot of scenes in the Bumblebee movie where I just wanted to go, aww. We learn how B loses his voice box and he basically lost his memory, so he doesn't really know stuff, so Charlie's really the only one he can trust. All scared of her at first and she's weirded out that he's an alien. Then they slowly learn to trust each other. While in Transformers, Sam sees Bumblebee. He freaks out, he rides a bike, away from his own car. So then there's this whole chase where Bumblebee's going after Sam, and then they run into Decepticons. So there was never really like a trusting moment at the beginning for them. Bumblebee only went after Sam because he wanted the glasses, and Sam only went with Bumblebee because his other alternative was death. Decepticons would have totally fried him. While Charlie saw Bumblebee and she like immediately like wanted to help him, and she told him that he didn't have to be afraid. So there was a more trusting bond at the beginning for them. I'm not saying that Sam and Bumblebee didn't have their own special bond. After a while, yes, and Bumblebee absolutely 100% protected Sam since the beginning, not just because of the glasses. There was a better bond there at first between Charlie and Bumblebee than Sam and Bumblebee. I still love Sam and Bumblebee's dynamic though. They're awesome, and Bumblebee and Sam are literally like my favorites, but I'm just saying. But yeah, those are the movies.